Hi, so I'll be going over the umpire process for what's called string integer, so a toy. So we have to understand. So the input is a string. So input is a string. So string, and then our output is string converted to an integer or 0 if string can't be converted to an integer. So for some examples, let's see. So for given 4193 with words, then the output should be 4193. So another example, so for given, so it should be S, so S equals 42, then our output is negative 42. So in terms of match, I don't think I've seen this problem before, but I have used problems where you have to take out white space or to deal with white space and converting strings to integers. Match plan. So for my plan, so take out white space from the string. So if you take out the white space from the string, then oh yeah, well this also has this part where we have to check for the max and min values, so the integers have to be within this range. So negative 2 to the power of 31 and 2 to the power of 31 minus 1. So to take out white space from the string, and then I would create variables for min and max values. Then we can create a 0 variable, or like an empty or 0 variable for the digit for our converted, for what we will return, so we'll set it as 0, and then if we can't convert the string, then we return the 0. Otherwise, we have the digit, the value, the variable changed. So then we can create another variable. So we create this sign variable. And we'll use we'll multiply it by our converted number, depending on what sign we're shown in the string. Okay, and then let's see. So first we have to check string isn't empty, right? So that's I forgot what it's called, but edge case we have to think about. So then we check if we have a minus or plus sign. So our sign variables be 1. So then if minus, sign becomes negative, otherwise stays the same. And then we want to increase, so we're going to be using a loop, right? So increase our I variable, our index, if a minus minus sign was found. Or, oh yeah, well no, actually, increase our index if a minus or a plus sign was found. So if we find either one, we just want to increase our index because that'll be the first sign that we find. Actually, if a minus or plus sign was found. Okay. And then we use a while loop. Use a while loop to check to iterate through the string, to iterate through the string. So if that index in the string is a number, then you want to multiply that so then we'll multiply our digit variable by 10, then add it to the converted number. So our digit variable will multiply by 10 for each placement of the number, then we'll add it to a converted, we'll convert the digit at that index into an integer, and then add it to our variable, creating like a number. But if we find anything else besides a number, break out of the loop. And so at the end, so after the loop, we want to multiply our digit by the sign, and then use max and min functions to make sure our converted integer is in the correct range. And we just return our converted integer. Okay, so let's try it. So implement. So we're given s, right? So we're given s. So I'll create a new variable, new string that removes the white space. So I'll use the strip function. So a string equals s.strip. Then we have our max. So 2 to the power of 31 minus 1 is our max range. So 2 power of 31 minus 1. Then our minimum range, equals negative 2 to the power of 31. Then we'll create our digit variable. So our digit variable equals 0. Then we have our sign. So we'll use this variable to multiply by our digit, depending if we find a minus or plus. So then our index, when you create our index, we're going to be using a while loop. So I equals 0. So we check if our string isn't empty. So if it isn't empty, and then we want to make sure that I is less than the length of the string, less than the length of the string also. I guess just another check to make sure that make sure our string isn't empty. So if I is less than the string, so a string and a string I equals so a minus sign, or a string I equals plus sign. So if we find either a minus or plus sign, and then I is less than the length of a string, so it's not empty. So if the sign that we find is a minus sign, then we want our sign to be negative. Otherwise, it can remain as positive. And then if something is found, right, we just want to go through the next iteration of our string. And so we use a while loop. So while I is less than a string, so while I is less than the length of a string without white space, if the element of that index is a digit, we use the is digit function to check this. Then we want to multiply our digit variable by 10 and add it to the number of that string element, or the element. We want to convert the element of the string to an integer and add it to our digit variable. So a string I, so we just convert it and then we add it to digit but multiply it by 10 because depends on the place of our number, right? Otherwise, if we find anything else, we just want to break out of this loop. Then of course we just have to keep going if our loop is actually what we want. If we're actually finding numbers instead of like anything else. So after this loop, we just want to multiply our digit by the sign to be the correct sign. And then we just want to use the min and max function. So max and min. So we just want to make sure that our integer is in the correct range. So max. So we want to find out which one is smaller between our digit variable and our maximum variable. And then we find, and then we use that to find which one is bigger between what we got there in our minimum variable. So that puts our number in the correct range. So then we just want to return converted digit. We shouldn't need to convert this again, right? So let's see. No, I put that. So let's see if this works. Yeah. So it looks like we're able to get test cases by running it. So I'll submit it. And yeah, we were able to get it. And then I have a lot of tries where I messed up. So for evaluate, let's see. Evaluate. I think time might be O of n because it depends, because we're using a loop and it depends on how long our string is. So depending on the length of the string, the time it takes for our problem to for the solution to finish. It depends on how long our string is. And then for space, I believe it's O1 because it uses the same space like with our digit or with our variables. Yeah, it uses the same space with our variables no matter what, I believe. Maybe it changes depending, our space changes depending on the length of our given string, but I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, thank you. That's my solution for string to integer or 8 to 8.